Hey, hi, hello! My name is Fox Arie, and welcome to Fox Dots. In this episode, I'll be talking about my experiences with the Five Nights at Freddy's franchise. After all this time, honestly, it still is weird for me to call it a franchise, but it really is what it is. So, where to begin? Where do we start? How did we get here? Why is any of this popular anyway? We might talk about that. I don't know. We'll find out. So, let's begin where I began. I somehow found out about Five Nights at Freddy's through the internet. Of course, like almost literally anyone else in existence. I was a humongous fan of Markiplier and Jacksepticeye when I was little baby Arie. Like, I would just watch them religiously. I thought they were the funniest shits around. And to be fair, they were very, very humorous back then. Nowadays, I don't watch either too much when it comes to their YouTube content, so I don't know if they're still like gut busting gangbangers, like all the time. But I definitely thought they were hilarious. Then again, my sense of humor is just pee pee poo poo butt pickle sandwich. So, I don't know how much you could trust me in terms of how something funny is. How funny something is, I mean. Okay. But despite that, Freddy. All right, Freddy. That's what we're talking about. Freddy. So what about Freddy? Well, Freddy, Five Night Freddy. Uh, I was chilling at a park, like a regular park. I was hanging out with my granddad. All right, hang out with granddad, and I was watching Markiplier. I think on his phone, because I definitely did not have my own phone at the time. So I was watching Markiplier on his smartphone. Not on Markiplier's smartphone, on my granddad's smartphone. Uh, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. Now, I was kind of stupid as a kid, which is saying something because I'm kind of stupid now, but I was even more stupider as a kid. Stupidest, whatever. I don't know, plural hard. So, uh, I decided to look at the App Store for Five Nights at Freddy's. I was like, hey, let's see if I can find it. And you know what? Scott Cawthon, the creator of the Five Nights at Freddy's series, did it. He put FNAF 1 on the App Store. I think there was a demo for free. I don't know if it's still available now. But I was like, oh, look at here. Wowie zowie. So that's what I did. I downloaded it and I played it and I pissed my ass because it was really horrifying as a kid. The ambiance of the first Five Nights at Freddy's game is super, super good. I'm sure you've probably heard it over and over all around if you're familiar with any type of Five Nights at Freddy's conversation relating to the first game. It really is pretty good, very good even. It's just that musty, crusty, ancient Chuck E. Cheese feel that kind of seeps into your pores and make you quicken your boots quite a bit. For me, growing up, there was many Chuck E. Cheeses that I've been to with the old animatronics. They were old and greasy and grimy. It was like the transitional period where they were moving from having the old animatronics and then just replacing them completely. Gone. In fact, I think I heard recently that they were bringing them back. I don't know if it's like on most locations or whatever, but I'm just more used to them not being around than, even considering their existence just outside of, oh, look, it's a Chuck E. Cheese Freddy. But either way, since I was already familiar with like the weird and creepy nature of how real life animatronics look like, I was like, holy shit, this is horrifying. Like, it really spoke to me, even though I was quite young when the first game came out. So, I enjoyed it and became a fan instantly. And of course, I fall into the theory trap of following MatPat and his misadventures of analyzing every pixel of every FNAF game. And you know what? I'll be honest, I followed that for a long time. I'm gonna say, just to jump forward a lot here, I probably followed Matt Pat's escapade explain the FNAF games up until I'm trying to think. Wow. Probably before Security Breach. That is quite a long time. I was interested in the story for a long time. Actually, no. Before Help Wanted. If you don't know a lot about the series, yet you're still listening to this, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'll explain the timeline of when the game's released, not the story timeline. I'm not going to even touch that with a 10-foot pole, not even a 20-foot one. But I just kind of followed it for a very long time religiously. That was my religion. Everybody has their thing, but that, Matt Pat, baby. No, but uh, I followed him with his theories up until I think when the first novelization, not novelization, the novel books were coming out. The Silver Eyes, the Twisted Ones. Again, we'll get to them soon enough. So just get the idea that I was consuming all the FNAF content constantly. There was a bunch of teasers and a bunch of promotional things always coming out left and right and center. Quickly after the extreme, amazing, whatever you want to call it, the click. What do you call it again? The point and click adventure game? I mean, that's pretty much what the original first four FNAF games were. They're point and click adventures. I think that's what the genre is called. God, I can feel myself burning on a cross if I'm getting it wrong. Either way, um, after the enjoyment and the horror of the first FNAF game, there was quickly announced a sequel for the following year. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy, bro! Brewski, my ears are melting! Wow! That's just nuts. I couldn't even imagine it. I knew, even at a very young age, video games took a lot of effort. Anything relating to art takes a lot of effort. So to know that there's not only going to be a sequel to this thing I started hyperfixating over, but also it's coming next year. Like, I could wait a fucking year. That's no problem. Like, there's so many other games for me to enjoy on my DS or Wii at the time or whatever. I don't even know. Was that the time with the DS and the Wii? Whatever. There were so many Nintendo games and not Nintendo games too sometimes for me to enjoy. While waiting for FNAF 2, I was like, I'm ready, baby. I'm locked and loaded, putting the bandana on. What boom! But, yeah, suffice it to say, I became a fan very quick, very early on. And when it comes to the actual me enjoying FNAF 1, I don't really have a lot to say. It's quite difficult when you're young and you don't completely understand the mechanics because you're a little silly poopy brain, but I had a lot of fun with it. I could tell you that I beat the hardest difficulty, which is 420 mode, or putting all the antagonists on the hardest like difficulty in a custom night mode. For those who don't know, I beat that in a hospital one time. I wasn't hospitalized or anything. It was just someone I knew was like dying, and I decided to play Five Nights at Freddy's on my phone. So that was fun. That's how I beat, or that. Well, I guess beat. I guess that's how you could say it. That's how I 100%ed the first game. I still don't own the first game on PC to this day. So, I'm a disgrace to the community. No, but seriously. Um, I've just been playing the game so much over the years. Not recently, but, when I just want something simple and nostalgic for me to come back to, FNAF isn't one that I go to that much, but it's an option. And sometimes I do pick it. So, enough about that. Who cares about that crusty old first game? Let's get into the hype cycle for the second game, baby! Woo! So, how was it like? Really, really fun and exciting. There was always something coming out. There was always new information around the corner. As I mentioned previously, there is just a lot to dig into. And I definitely had my favorite content creators explaining or showing or diving deep into all the teaser images and trailers that came out. For those who weren't around at this time or just completely unfamiliar with this, like, how do you want to call it? Like the cycle of hype for the FNAF community in the early days, Scott Cawthon would put teaser images on his website, and it would just reveal little bits and pieces of information. It could either be the map of the game or the new characters, reworked designs, really anything. And it's not like, how do I explain? It's not like beta models or low poly stuff. Like this was like really good, crazy stuff. There has been times over the years of the original series run, and I'm gonna call the original series the first four games for the record. That's how I see it in my mind. Um, there has been times where some modifications to models have been made, or maybe it was on purpose, and maybe Scott's just messing with our brains. But yeah, there's the little things that don't really matter. I don't really find them like very specific for canon purposes, even though I'm not following the canon anymore too much because it was just kind of like it's development stuff, you know. Things always change in development. This goes for any type of media project at all. So, you know, don't take those old ass teaser trailers as hard fact, guys. All right, it's they are just to tease a game to give us a little bit of a delicious cock tease for Freddy's cock and ball torture fun. I regret saying that. Can someone please delete my existence? Anyway, FNAF 2. It finally dropped before 2015 even happened. Now, the year hasn't even turned over. It's been maybe 2, 3, 4 months, something like that, since the first game came out, and we're here. FNAF 2 is my second favorite game in the whole series. I think it's awesome. I think it's great. And a lot of people don't like it for the reason as I do like it. I love it because of all the different mechanics, the variety, how basically your threats have been nearly tripled. There's just so much there. And although it's just more of, oh, put the cursor to the side and clickety clack, now you're gonna put on a furry mask. You gotta be a bit of a fuzzy, you know. And you gotta wind up this music box or else the funny spaghetti woman will kill you. There's just a lot there. And also, there's a lot more story. And I wasn't getting to the point where I was like super duper, like ball twisting complicated. It was just, hey, here is some mini games for you to play when you die. So, like, even when you're dying, you're getting rewarded by exploring this world with super cryptic messages and themes and gameplay, even though it looks just like Atari, you know, type stuff. But who cares? Who cares? It was awesome to know more of this world and see it, even if it was very limited, because that's what everyone was really interested in. We were really interested in seeing more of this interesting and horrifying world. A lot of people say the ambiance of the first game like surpasses all of the other games in the entire series up to this point. And I gotta say, I disagree. Yep, it's hot take time. Let's go. Listen, sit down, buckle up, zip up your zipper. I think FNAF 2 has a slightly, very slightly creepy ambiance. Yes, the place doesn't look as greasy and grimy as the first place, and you know, with all these silly, cartoony character designs coming after you that are way more futuristic in a sense, kind of, at least compared to the first game's cast. You know, there's less of the air of mystery since there's more story, whatever. I get it. But I don't know, just the thought of so many things trying to kill me and the iconic like ambience music and just hearing the thunking and clunking of the vents constantly, especially later in the nights. There's just something there that makes me more spook and trembling and quaking and throwing up than the first game. Because in the first game, it's like, oh, we gotta deal with these four motherfuckers. Maybe the fifth piss Freddy. You know, he comes around sometimes. He just manifests. It's me, he says. Get your ass out of here, boy. I'm putting on my monitor in my face. But hey, you know what? I just think it's more scary. And if you don't agree with me, evaporate instantly. No, I'm kidding. It's okay to have different opinions about anything and everything. However, what can I say? I have bad taste. So clearly, I'm awesome. No, that is simply my thoughts on FNAF 2. I thought it was great. I thought it was cool. And I still love it to this day. It's probably the FNAF game I've played the most out of all of them. And now we have a new hype cycle for FNAF 3. Not too long after the second game dropped, there's already teasers for a third one. What the fuck is going on? And this motherfucker takes 30 years in the future. What is going on here? Oh! So, that is true. One of the first pieces of information we've learned about Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was it was taking place far ahead into the future compared to the first two games, because like you can kind of tell they take place around the same time period, maybe at most 5 to 7 years apart, which is still quite a jump, but it's not that crazy. 30 years is a fucking lot. Like, what do you mean? And I thought it was a good idea, or sorry, I meant to say I thought it was crazy in a good way. A lot of people thought it was crazy in a bad way, like it was jumping the shark. And man, I don't care if we're jumping the shark. I don't even care if the shark bites my niblets, my gibbly niblets. I was here for the crazy shit. I was here to get spooked, to see more of this world, and I didn't care where it went at the time. I just needed more because I am a FNAF lore whore, baby. So, that being said, understandably, a lot of the people in the community were just like, I don't know, man. I don't really like this. And I gotta say, it's okay, but too fucking bad. Because the game kind of maybe sucks a little bit. Oh, so the problem with FNAF 3 is that there is like one guy, like one antagonist guy, dude, man, known as Springtrap, infamous villain of the series as a whole. And what can I say? He's just the only one after you. And also his jump scare sucks. Uh, and, you know, that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can do a lot with one villain, but it was still the same gameplay again. It was still look around the cameras, pull up this and pull up that. There was some different stuff to it, but it just kind of felt like you can beat the game way easier than the other two, once you get a handle on it. Which is kind of weird because you'd imagine, the farther we get into this, the more complicated we want to make things. And that's not always the case, or that shouldn't always be the case in every game franchise. But I guess I was kind of expecting a little more, and we kind of got less bang for our buck. Also, seeing more of the story and getting a true ending too, since this game had a true ending, was like you had to become Insano Schizoid McGee Ultra Deluxe. Like you just had to know all the randomest shit of all time, like punching numbers in the wall. That's the most iconic one. And there's just other very specific random things that you would have never ever figured out on your own. That's something I really don't like games doing, whether in the past or now, especially now. Like when I say now, I mean 2010s going forward. I hate when video games expect you to do something to get a good ending and it never tells you. It doesn't make it a bad game, but if there's a lot of content being hide behind it or what have you, if there's just something substantial to it and it's not your fault because you missed it, it's just simply the game never giving you a hint, not even a peep, not even a particle of dust about there being a secret. Come on, man, really? I'll go home. I'm gonna home. I don't want to give fuck shit ass. No, let me compose myself. So, I don't like that. That really pissed me off when it came out. And also, like I said, just one guy with a shitty ass jump scare. I wasn't crazy about jump scares, by the way, but still, I was like, that's lame. It's just, he just walks up to you, but like, hi. I was like, I don't get out of here, bunny boy, fucking leave. So, yeah, I didn't meet up to most fans' expectations, even though I was still confident it was gonna be good. Um, but I mean, I'm sure it has its fans, but I'm not one of them. So, then here we are again, another hype cycle, more FNAF lore, horror, major. And yeah, quickly after, only a few months later, I think. I don't really remember exactly the timeline, but I believe this is still 2015. We got what was supposed to be the final game of the series, FNAF 4. I don't like this one. So, I also think this is not really a popular game in the community. To be fair, I don't I'm with them. I just it feels weird to explain why because I don't really think about that much. Like I honestly forget about the game a lot outside of like the character design. Um but essentially you're in a room and you're a kid. There's two doors to your left and right and a closet in front of you and a bed behind you. You got to shine your flashlight all around to fend off against these crazy ass motherfucking animatronics. Like their designs are awesome. Probably some of my favorite designs in the whole series, honestly. They're just rad and trippy. I love psychedelic type stuff, and I think it's honestly inspiring for some, just modern horror. I'm not saying it has inspired modern horror, but I'm saying it has a potential to, you know, be of inspiration, which I'm sure it has been because FNAF has spawned so many fan games of so many different variety, both great and stinky. So I'm sure the designs for FNAF 4 has inspired a lot of fan games and fan characters and fetishes. But we're not going to talk about that third one. Not today. We'll save it for the fetish episode, obviously. So, um, oh, uh, huh. FNAF 4. This shit sucks. I like the story it was telling with the mini games. I think that happened in between nights. Or no, yeah. After you beat a night, you get to play a mini game. Um, Same like old video game style, beepy boopy. But there was a bit more to it, just a little bit more. And I like that. That was my favorite part of the game. But honestly, I just didn't want to deal with that. It just felt annoying and a hassle to play. It definitely works really well functionally, and I will say it is a better game overall than FNAF 3, but it's just like, I don't know. So that's my current ranking for FNAF games. We got FNAF 3 in the bottom, FNAF 4, 1, and 2 on top, baby. And 2 will stay on top for a little while here. So, after FNAF 4, the entire community thought that it was over. There was no more. No more Five Night, no more Freddy, no more just pizza. Pizza's gone. When Freddy's not around, pizza and the whole universe just cease to exist. So, sorry, Italianos. But either way, going forward, after FNAF 4 hype died down, well, I guess it kind of died down when it came out, but either way, after FNAF 4 came out, there was some silence, no word for a good while, and the reveal for the next project was quite interesting. So there was a thank you for playing, well, not really a promotional image, but image on Scott Cawthon's website, and it was like, oh, that's cool. All the characters, all the animatronics was there. Not all the characters, just all the robots, all the 3D model fellas. That was trying to kill you all these years, all these couple of years. um, are here saying thank you. It was so awesome. I love it. I still love going back to the image so much. It's just really cool. And it's very nostalgic to me. Um, and then after that, little by little, day by day, things were changing in the image, and the characters were becoming quite short, chibi, cartoony, and it was like, what is this about? Eventually, we found out it's a project called FNAF World. And for those unfamiliar, FNAF World is an RPG, or yeah. It's an RPG where it's just FNAF World. You start with a party with Freddy Fazbear and Bonnie and all the iconic original characters from the first two games. And you go around this map and you beat up enemies like a traditional turn-based RPG, and it's just fun. There's some meta commentary. It's this and that. It's not anything granular. It's not the greatest game in the world. And a lot of people really don't like it. For me personally, I think it's quite fun. I think it's a good time. It's not a game I'm probably ever gonna come back to personally, but as a fan of the series, seeing the series branch off and do something completely different and just kind of, spending more time with these characters, that's kind of was very important to me. I don't think FNAF World is necessarily an underrated gem or a must play game, but if you are a fan of the FNAF franchise and you just want to see more of the world, then don't be shy. Play it and play the game. It's for free on Game Jolt, if I'm not mistaken. It's free somewhere. The whole game's for free. When it came out, it was $10, which I gladly paid for with my birthday money. Oh hell yeah. But what else could I say? It became free and refunds were issued. You could keep your Steam copy if you wanted to, and I did. And there was exclusive news updates, so forth and so on, for a good while on the FNAF World Steam page, which was cool. Obviously, that doesn't really mean anything for people who followed the community closely anyway, like I did at the time, because all the big FNAF news YouTubers just, kind of like blasted that, which is perfectly fine. Who cares? I guess it was just kind of Scott's way of saying, here is kind of making it up to you if you kept your copy for one reason or another. I just like to keep it because it's like bragging rights now. It's like, oh, I have this on Steam, and you can no longer ever get this game ever on Steam. And it probably will never go back on sale there unless for some reason there's a bunch of re-releases, like a collection, which would make no sense because all the games were designed for computer first. So I don't know, but hey, that's awesome, and that's something I'm very happy to say I own. And I don't know, it's just cool. Uh, yeah, the community didn't like this one. They really didn't like it. A lot of people saying, "Oh, it's not horror related. It's too cutesy and this and that." And I totally get it. You're here for the horror. You're here to scream and cry and shit. But like, I don't know. I liked it. As of playing through it a few times. But it's nothing too crazy. There was an update to it after the next mainline game. Update 2, I think that's just what it's called. You can access the content of it after you beat the game for the first time, if I'm not mistaken. And it's just more characters to unlock, more mini games to play, just more stuff to sink your teeth into, and a harder final boss and all that. So for people who liked FNAF World, just wanted to see some more goofy stuff from Scott Cawthon, there you go. That's that. There's also a FNAF World website, so it makes me curious to think maybe there was more planned. Maybe a sequel was potentially planned at some point in time before the first game even came out, or before FNAF World came out. I mean, not like the first game of the series. No way in hell. But it no, it just got kind of stopped getting used after a point. There was a long period of time where the website was just this image of Mangle, which is one of my favorite animatronics ever. They're beautiful. Basically hanging. It looked like they were just hanging and they were dead, like they killed themselves. Um, not fun, not cool, not great, but well, thanks, Scott Cawthon. Very cool, very awesome. Oh, yikes! I'm gonna have to add a trigger warning now, but it's okay. I don't mind doing that. uh, Besides that, I don't know if that's still up. I doubt it. I'm sure the website is still up, just so Scott Cawthon to have the domain. But um, quickly after FNAF Road came out, we found out there was going to be a new proper FNAF game, and it was going to be different this time. Sister Location is what it was called. Instead of just sitting in an office and looking around and clicking buttons and such and so forth, there you go. You just I don't know why I said there you go. I didn't even explain what I was gonna say yet. Oh, there you go. You already know what I'm thinking, right? No, 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 no. But to actually explain what I'm on about, um, you get to explore an underground facility with these brand new animatronics. Some of them are familiar, like Freddy and Foxy. Yeah, I mean, they look like clowns now, more than usual, but yeah, it's them. Bear Fox. Yeah, wow. Hoo. But now there's these two greasy, yucky human characters. Yuck! So we have Baby and Ballora. Wow. Um, Nothing really of note to say except Baby is very important for the story. Again, I don't want to get into that too much. Just in general, it was a very, very nice change of pace for the series. More, more adventurous. It felt like you were going on an adventure, even though you couldn't like really walk anywhere, like of your free will. It was still like point and click adventure game. However, there are some points where you could like walk along the floor while escaping animatronics in their respective rooms, and that I like that. That was awesome, and I thought it was just a really good treat to be able to do that. So it just kind of felt like I'm finally, doing something way more than sitting in an office and looking around. I'm going around and, touching the animatronics, repairing them, you know. You know what I mean. I'm fixing the beep boop robot, and I'm making them alive again. I'm making them real life. Wow. Um, I don't know what I'm on about, dude. I don't know what the hell I'm going on about. Either way, it was just cool. And to get the true ending, you had to do some original FNAF shit, baby. And I like that. That's a nice homage. I think some of the community didn't like it because it was just like, oh, this again. But it's like, this is what the series is known for, and it's always what it's going to be known for. It's its roots, right? It's like, what if Nintendo made just a bunch of Mario games, but none of them had any platforming, Or maybe it was like a Mario sports game and there's like some platforming in it. It's like, it's part of its DNA. Not all the time you have to do that with a series that has a very established identity. It's perfectly fine to branch out and do new things, which is another reason why I loved FNAF World. But still, it was surely something. But most importantly, it was paying homage to the original games, and I appreciate that. And it was fun. And it was the basis for its DLC. This was the first game to get DLC before FNAF World. I distinctly remember just exactly 1 month after Sister Location came out, we got DLC, and it was the custom nights again. I mentioned this back in FNAF 1. Uh, what am I saying? I gotta really think. Think! Motherfucker, think! No, but back when I was talking about FNAF 1, that's what I meant. Blah, blah, blah. There's a custom night, and the other games had it too. FNAF 2 had it. FNAF 3, not so much. FNAF 4, kind of? Not exactly. It was more customizable than 3, but not as much as 1 and 2. And then there's no such thing as a custom night for a RPG. So I guess it wasn't as standardized across the series as I thought just a second ago. So boohoo, sorry for the 1 second misinformation, Buster. But who cares? It doesn't matter. What matters is that it was cool, and now you get to have this new interesting experience. The only thing that I think you had to do was beat the game once, which is fine. It makes sense. I mean, like with a true ending, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong here, so do your own research, kids. I'm just talking about my emotional history. I don't know everything off the top of my head. I'm sorry, but I never got the chance to play it because I'd preferred Markiplier play it for me. Daddy Marky Mookie. But hey, it was still really fun, and now we have cutscenes. Wow, cutscenes in a FNAF game. That's nuts. That's absolutely bonkers. I guess FNAF World had kind of cutscenes, but they were super simple. These were simple too, but they were really telling a story. So it was nice to see again more of the world and have traditional gameplay, and it felt right. So If you take that into account, Sister Location was the most unique and interesting and I guess innovative game in this series so far. It's not one of my favorites. I definitely rank it below FNAF 1, but it's not bad. It's a pretty good time, especially if you're playing it for the first time and you're unfamiliar with the story. Just, I don't know, I recommend it. It's one of the ones I think you should play if you're interested at all. It's pretty neat. I like it. So, beyond Sister Location, I'm trying to think what happened after. Because there was just kind of silence. Oh, that's right. Pizza Simulator. The pizza's back, baby. Don't worry, Italianos. I got your back. So, Pizza Simulator. I knew it was more than meets the eye before even playing it. I wasn't really. This was the first time a FNAF game came out that I played completely blind. All the other ones I watched other YouTubers play it. Again, mostly Markiplier, but you get the idea. I watched a bunch of other YouTubers play it. Okay, but I don't know. Pizza Simulator was super interesting to me. And it came from Scott Cawthon. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buckle down and play it on my own and discover this. Even if it's just a simple little funny mini game, I'm sure there'll be some tease to another FNAF game. I don't know if Scott Cawthon was saying, "Oh, there is no FNAF game after this guy." I think we all kind of knew. I think he said he was gonna take a break and like focus on himself and his family. Again, not completely sure, but there was definitely a decent hiatus and nothing else after FNAF World Update 2. So I enjoyed Pizza Simulator's beginning false act, and then we got into the real gameplay, and oh my god, it was horrifying. And honestly, it felt great to play a FNAF game blind. It was the only one in the series that I did, because every other game before and after I just watched people play on the internet. But dude, it was just amazing, spectacular to watch the game. Not even watch. What the fuck am I saying? To play. I get to play it. I played it with my fingers. My fingers. Very cool. Very awesome. I sucked at it though. And I didn't really understand what to do. And I didn't ever beat it. I just watched Markiplier play it. But to experience the like self actualization of what's going on and play a few nights of it was very fun, and I liked it a lot. So there was no build up like the other games. There was no teaser images or nothing. It just came out, and we played it, and it was for free. I think, unless you want to count FNAF World, this was the first and only free FNAF entry in the series, and that's interesting because it's not the most. Oh wait, I'm forgetting a game. My bad. We'll get to it in a second. It's not the most content rich, obviously, but it's not. Even if it had a price to it, I'm sure people will buy it. I guess Scott was just kind of going for the hey, I am doing a beep boop, and it'll be funny to completely, shroud my act with a silly Billy decision. And you know what? I love being a silly Billy, so I'm all for it. I love it when game developers get to just kind of mess with their audience. For example, I love the fact that Hideo Kojima tricked everyone in the world and their mother that the main character of Metal Gear Solid 2 was Solid Snake again. But nope, it was Raiden, otherwise known as Jack. And I love Jack, so hee hee. Um, Either way, Pizza Simulator is alright. Not really one of my favorites, but it's very important, and it was so cool. In terms of raw story, I think it was my favorite. No, it is my favorite for sure, because it had one of the hardest story moments. It was like it felt like everything came together. There are still so many laps in understanding and comprehension in the story, as always, but at the end, with the building burning down and all that good shenaz, man, it just felt awesome and amazing to finally get to that point. And what can I say? I was glad to be a part of it. I was glad to see it. To see all these pieces kind of come together and, well, make a beautiful piece of art. And so after that, we got my favorite game and the whole series, Ultimate Custom Night. Oh my gosh, I loved custom nights. I love the idea of doing custom nights challenges. Of course, like the hardest ones when I played the games that had them. Um, and what can I say? A lot of words apparently, but specifically about this, it's just a shit ton of things here. There's so many awesome people and things and cool. Oh, like like there's like a point system. You can go for high scores, and then each different scores unlocks different like cosmetics for your office. There's like specific skins. Not too in depth, but still, it was nice. And also cutscenes triggered after certain point thresholds. Man, it was awesome. Absolutely spectacular. And it's not perfect. Nothing's ever perfect, but in terms of raw, the juicy gameplay, I thought, and I still think, it's the best FNAF game. And it just cuts out like the middleman. Like there is story to be told. There is stuff there for sure. But the ultimate takeaway for me was just this is a fun and interesting experience to put all these animatronics in a and just a big setting together. It's honestly the game of my dreams. It's what I've been wanting since FNAF 3. Just like like imagining a game where I'm in an office, like where I can close doors and put on a mask with the original cast, FNAF 2 and FNAF 3, and anything else that came after that was just a dream of mine. And the fact that it actually came true, even though I wasn't seriously asking for it before, it blew my fucking mind. Oh, so I am so happy. I feel like I wished it into existence, and you know what? I definitely did not, but I love it to death. Even so, I don't really plan to come back to that game either. I don't plan to come back to any of the FNAF games anytime soon because I'm not so interested in the series anymore. I really fell off after watching Daco complete the hardest difficulty in Ultimate Custom Night, and I just think there's just too much going on. I just really stopped following the story, and I just don't want any part of it. Let me collect myself for a second here. I mentioned there was another game in the series that was for free. Ultimate Custom Night is for free. I just wanted to say that. I just want to get my thoughts together. You. And also, there was books that came out sometime before Pizza Simulator. The first book called Five Nights at Freddy's: The Silver Eyes. I read that shit in middle school, boy. Like I was like into it. I'm not really much of a book reader. I do read books if they really interest me and I want to know more, but I much more prefer visual media. I much more prefer interactive media, which is why I adore video games. But still, I was like, hey, I might not be super like hyper fixated on the story anymore, even at that point where the Silver Eyes came out. But I still want to see how a book about Five Nights at Freddy's would work. Does the morbid curiosity really drive me to buy it? Same goes for the movie, but we're not there yet. I never finished the book because a friend wanted to read it, and I was like, sure, why not? Yeah, I like you, friend. I don't think they ever gave it back to me. Oops. So, yeah, I never got the chance to read it, and it's unfortunate, but what can you do? So, since I never finished reading the first book, I never read its sequels. I was also just like made aware fairly recently that there were visual novel or like graphic. Wait, no, what's the term for it? It was like comic books or something like that. There was a visual version of these books. I don't know if it was the entire series or just the first book. I didn't even know that was a thing. I am not crazy to sort it out, but it's one of those things where if it's in front of me and if it's for a decent price, I might pick it up for its novelty, but otherwise, I'm just not gonna bother with it. It's really cool though. A lot of people prefer to have that visual element, and I'm sure seeing a lot of those things that the book describes would be so interesting because um, I have a hard time trying to visualize things on my own sometimes. I have a really great and vivid imagination, but still, when it's just words on a page and there's no other visual material, it's really hard to get a basis for it all. And I'm sure people who are familiar with the Silver Eyes knows exactly what I'm talking about, especially with Charlie's house. Like, my mind can't wrap around it. Like, some parts of it, it's just like, I can't even fathom. It's not, like, fantastically impossible. The, the book really tries its best to, like, ground itself in reality, but still lets itself be fantasy. But still, it was just, I don't know. It was hard for me. That's a me problem. I'm sure the book did a great job explaining. I don't remember it off the top of my head too well, of course. It's been years. But what can you do? Skill issue. I know. Sad. That aside, I just dipped out. I kinda didn't want too much to do with Five Nights at Freddy's after that point. I lost interest. There were many more games for me to play and many more communities to be a part of, and well, I just really never fully came back ever since then. There are things that do keep me tied to the community. My love for the original games, keeps me around. Hell, that's why I'm here in the first place to just go on about it. Uh, Other than that, there is this one character I basically base my entire personality around in modern day, and their name is Lolbit. In FNAF World, one of the very first things that you'll see once you start playing the game, and you have control of your character, is the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper is a reskin of Funtime Foxy, which is the Foxy from Sister Location, and instead of having eyes, it just has eye sockets with like one dot, pupil for each eye, and I instantly fell in love with the character. I know they were just a reskin, but they're just so cute. And just their aesthetic and them being a shop owner, just all of it. I thought it was lovely. I thought it was wonderful. And something about it resonated with me. In Sister Location, they only had a very brief reference that it's like a random Easter egg. It can appear in like the main area of the game, kind of thing. I never seen it until recently as well when I was doing research about the character. Because my autistic ass needs to know literally everything about this thing right now. But I just besides that little Easter egg, there Lolbit was a part of the custom night. And basically, what you have to do is that when they start appearing on your menu monitors, when you're just looking at the office regularly, you have to type in LOL on your keyboard. But that's not the part that gets to me. It's just the fact that they're kind of like a computer virus and an auditorial visual distraction. If you don't type in LOL fast enough, you don't die, but your screen and your audio gets all smudgy and fucky. Like their face is there, and the text says, "What? Please stand by," which is so iconic with me now. Like just having that character be near and dear to my heart. Just everything about Lolbit makes me so happy, except the sister location design. No eyebrows freak. I'm not saying if you don't have eyebrows, you're instantly disgusting. I'm sure you can pull it off, but I personally, when it comes to looks with character design, like seeing eyebrows. I'm more of like a thin eyebrow kind of person. Some people could pull off thick eyebrows so good though, but I'm not saying I'm a fashion master. Not in the slightest. I'm wearing sweatpants and a Snoopy shirt right now when I'm recording this. Okay, like I am not a fashion person at all. But I don't know. They're just there wasn't enough, to go around, I guess. There wasn't just enough to make me love it. It's just Funtime Foxy, but now they have a hand this time and they have no eyebrows. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was a bit just silly. I know it's just one little change, but sometimes the littlest changes fucks with you a lot. And it really messed with me quite a bit. But despite that, I love the character so much. Please Stand By is the most iconic thing in FNAF for me now. And they're my favorite character in the whole series, and one of my favorite characters of all time. Um, what I like to do in my free time is I like to just go through the internet and save a bunch of fan art of them and just kind of have this collection, this archive of it. well, I say archive, but it really is just me collecting it and just for my own use to look at later and just to enjoy and share with friends. I do have a few friends that like to see the character as well, and I kind of indoctrinated them into my cult. I mean, my enjoyment for this character. So I'm very happy. Yeah. Outside of that, I just had no tie to FNAF at all. And then the VR game came out. I was never super excited for VR. Even years later, having some experience with the Oculus Quest 2, linked up to my decently high end computer and playing games fairly well. I am not crazy about VR. However, the idea of playing a Five Nights at Freddy's game in VR always just amazed me. And honestly, I never played the game except for one time. I was in my childhood's best friend's house, and he had a VR headset, and he was like, "Hey Ari, you want to try this?" And I was like, "Oh, that'll be awesome." He took a turn first, of course, because it is his headset. Who am I to just be like, "Ah, it's my turn"? No, I'm not like a fucking douchebag, dude. So I let him play, and he streamed his gameplay to the phone on the Quest app, and I was watching, and I was like, "Whoa, this is awesome!" Even though I saw gameplay of it before from some other content creators, I still was just gawking at it. I was like, "Whoa, this is nuts, dude! This is crazy!" And when it was my turn, I don't remember what I did. I think I just did FNAF 1 because I'm fairly very good with FNAF 1, but it was still horrifying. It was like, wow, you're in there, right? Uh, I'm sure you hear this a lot, but footage never ever does it justice when it comes to any video game, but especially VR games, because you're there and the sounds are surrounding you, and you are just you got to survive, and it was really cool. And yeah, honestly, it did terrify me a little bit, but I don't mind. It was very fun. I didn't play anymore after that because I think my friend did one more. Uh, I was gonna say level. I guess you can call it a level. Like one more thing in the game, like another night of some sort or what have you. And then I had to go. It was getting a little late in the evening, but I at least got to try the game out. And you know what? I still want to play it. That is the one FNAF game I want to play. I don't own a copy, but I do have the equipment to, play it properly. So I sure will. I'm just remembering now two things. Number one, there was a Nintendo Switch port of this game, Help Wanted. What the fuck? It's not even compatible with like the really like shitty cardboard VR headset that Nintendo made. It's just there. It's just like a really shitty port, which is so silly. But well, whatever, man. Nintendo loves indie games after all. And then there's also a sequel coming out this year, so that's awesome. I want to play through the first game first. I'll probably pick it up on sale or what have you. But I'm sure the sequel will probably be as good. The only drawback is that it has to focus on the newer games. Whoa, voice crack there. It has to focus on the newer games. And Sister Location, I know that's probably going to be a big part of it, for like its bundle of nights. That would be really fun to experience in VR. Like that game was almost made to be in VR. Hell, there's even Sister Location stuff in um, the first Help Wanted. But to have a sequel is really cool, and I'm glad because it's one of the best FNAF experiences I heard, and hopefully I get to share that sentiment sometime. But outside of that, there is nothing else for me to look forward to because I'm a dumbass and forgot there was a FNAF movie coming. So for years and years and years, with scripts changing here and there, everything moving and grooving around. Scott Cawthon, the Madman, the Milker with the Joker, he was making a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. What a crazy idea! Woo! So, um, I don't even know what to say. I honestly forgot about it until the first trailer dropped, and I watched that trailer once, and I never watched any promotional material after that because I wanted to go in blind. I'm not much of a movie watcher. I don't watch a lot of movies. I want to change that because I feel like I miss out a lot in the movie world. I know movies are wonderful and just one of the most highly just sought after art pieces ever for any type of media, but I don't know. I feel like I just need a break in between movies, and since I like to, like, if there's a movie I am interested in, I'm just kind of strapped in. I don't want to get up and piss in the middle of a, in the middle of a movie, or just get up and move because my ADHD does not let me sit still. And hell, even just standing here recording, I'm bouncing a little in spot. Hopefully, it's not hearable or anything, but still, it's hard for me to sit still for a long period of time, and just movies make it hard. Now that we're in a modern day and modern age for streaming, it's more easier. So I could take breaks, pause midway through, like do it in a few sittings. But either way, um, to get into the specifics of the FNAF movie, what I probably expected was a retelling of the Silver Eyes, which is funny because I believe Scott Cawthon has gone on record saying that was one of the ideas for the original scripts for the FNAF movie. He just kind of, scrapped it because, like, oh, no, I don't want that, blah, blah, blah. Which is fair. It probably wouldn't have worked out because I heard the other two books just get stinkier over time. I don't know how true that is, but I know there's like some crazy, strong, hot wolf guy in one of them, probably. I don't know. I don't know anything about that, but I'm just telling you what my friends tell me. But either way, I didn't really know what I expected from it. So I went in as blind as possible, forgetting the majority of the first trailer, and I enjoyed it for probably the wrong reasons. I thought it was funny, both intentionally and unintentionally. Whenever it was trying to do anything in terms of horror, I thought it was really funny. When it tried to do anything in terms of actual comedy, because there were some bits where it was trying to be funny, it was really good. It hit it off the park. I just felt like it was not scary at all. There were some moments that were well done, but I think it was just because meme culture is so integrated in my mind with FNAF, as is any other media I consume. I just thought it was just silly. And with how the movie played out, it just made it more goofy and goofier. And on any rewatch I have, I'll just be laughing, both with and at the movie. I'm avoiding spoilers because I know FNAF fans, or the fans of anything really, they don't want to be spoiled about something. And I didn't issue any spoiler warning, but I don't even really care enough to get into the story. So, if you, for some godforsaken reason, are a fan of the series or interested in watching the movie and you listen this far into this random ass niche podcast, I mean, go watch it. It's not bad. It's not great. It's all right. If you like to laugh at cheesy movies, it's quite cheesy. It has heart. It falls flat. Um, okay, I will talk about spoilers, but before I say anything else, that's all right. I think you'll enjoy it, especially if you're a fan. It was definitely something made for fans. Uh, all right, I'm gonna get into movie spoilers right now. Three, two, one. Ramadan. Now you're done. Um, the one thing I wanted to talk about in terms of story was the whole Springtrap thing. I did not like it. I thought it sucked. Just the guy coming out here, just kind of being like, "I always come back. It's me, William after." It's just like, oh, what are you talking about? You kind of cringe, bro. It's fucking nasty. It was just not fun. The rest of the movie felt cohesive for the most part, and it was really cheesy and really like hoo hoo ha ha. But it was like it was fine. It's not bad. He just kind of ruined it in terms of story, and now I can never ever take it seriously because he just kind of like appeared and like died, well, died in quotation marks, knowing series. Just I don't know, not a good time. It was really awesome to hear the Living Tombstone first FNAF song play though. That was amazing. Probably my favorite part of the movie, even though it's Not really part of the movie, but I don't care. I'm easy to please. Whatever. After all said and done, I certainly had my wonderful times with the FNAF franchise. Just going along with it, being silly, seeing the community, obsessing over Lolbit. Oh boy, please. I love them so much. They're such a just a precious baby. And just anything. Everything. I'm very happy this is a successful series, and oh, I forgot about Security Breach. Okay. Do I have to talk about this? I don't like Security Breach. So, there's this game, Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach. Yeah, so I never thought it was gonna work from the start. Which is sad because I always want things that I enjoy to succeed. But like, I don't know, man. From the get go, with the very bright neon, super futuristic, or not futuristic, more like 80s aesthetic mall. This is like, no, this is not what FNAF is supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a weird facility, claustrophobic and whatever. If it was like a warehouse, like animatronics, like maybe that could have worked. I don't know. Like, you could have a bigger setting with FNAF, but it was just like it was too big and just too silly, and like that is when I feel like the series jumped the shark. Not even with FNAF 3. FNAF 3, like even from the get go, I guess I was like super into it, and I just kind of like let whatever bullshit slide. But even then, in the end, it made sense. Even to this day, after the game being out for over a year and having a content update, which I don't really care about too much anyway, like, and it was substantial too, for free, but still, it's just, I don't care, man. It's just, so what makes it bad? It's just, it was really buggy, it was really silly in a bad way, I feel. To be more specific, it felt like it had nothing to say. It felt like you were running around and just doing whatever it takes to survive, which is good. That's a pretty good part of it. But like, it never felt like you were getting anywhere. Like, physically, yes, you're using them legs, boy. But other than that, I just felt like the story fell flat. There was no crazy confrontation with Vanessa, the night guard. There was no super satisfying ending out of the multiple endings, both in the original game and in the um what's it called? The DLC. Hell, the true ending is just Springtrap again. This motherfucker literally cannot die. Like, please go away. I don't want nothing to do with you. Nothing. It's just, it's a big poo stain in my FNAF wipe. And I really don't like it. And I hope that if we're ever to have uh open zoned or like open area, it's not open world at all, but it was like a more like linear level design, but with still like secrets to find and etc. You know, linear but open to exploration. I know there's most likely a term for that, but if we want to have more FNAF games like that, it has to go in a different direction because this is just not cool. I do like Freddy. What's it called? Rockstar Freddy, if I'm not wrong. No, no, sorry, Glam Rock Freddy. That's what it is. Glam Rock. Glam Rock Freddy is awesome. I think he's cool. Roxanne is very spunky, very cool. Uh, Glam Rock Chica eats trash. That's what I expect. And Monty, the Gator, I don't really care about him. He's fine. So in terms of like, oh, let's make characters to sell merchandise, it's perfect. In terms of being a game for people to enjoy, I feel like only people that are really invested in the story and want to see all the little things, then yeah, of course, it's for you. And also like super duper FNAF fans that would just eat anything. And trust me, I've been there before. I played FNAF World. No, I'm kidding. That game's okay, but still, it's not gonna reach a bigger audience, and it's just unfortunately most likely hurt the FNAF brand a little bit because this was seen as like the first big like basically triple A FNAF game, and it floundered really hard, and I really hate to see that. So hopefully the we get another big chance for a FNAF game in the future, and it fixes not fixes, but it irons out the issues for well, rather what this game presented, because this will work. This could work really well for a FNAF game. I just feel like they need to make most of the areas more claustrophobic, or if there's like bigger rooms, you gotta have more stuff to do in them. There's just it's gotta have a big overhaul. I'm not the person to ask about this, and I don't even want to talk about this game at all. The only time I want to talk about this game is if I'm just talking about how much I like Glam Rock Freddy. But outside of that, I want nothing to do with this game. And I think that's okay because everyone has their favorites, everyone has their least favorites. This is my least favorite in the whole series. Somehow worse than FNAF 3 in my eyes. I know I'm gonna definitely be crucified for this one, but you know, it's okay. It was worth it. Now, with that being said, with all of that covered, all of that there, this and there and whatnot, I'm still happy to be part of the community. Even if I'm not playing a big active role, I'm still happy to have experienced all this, and I probably would be a different person to this, on this day if it wasn't for this game series. So I want to say thank you to Scott Cawthon and everyone else who made this series happen, whether it be the books, the games, the movies, plural. Um, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be sequels. I think one of the main actors spoiled that. So, lol, get trolled, scrub. Um, I mean, it was kind of inevitable. This is a big production, and this was, uh, something to capitalize off of. No matter what, it was gonna sell decently well in the box office because FNAF fans have money. Lots of it. There's so much damn merch at Hot Topic. Get it away from me! I say as I buy like I don't know, like a Foxy plush or some shit. I don't know. Either way, I enjoy the series and I look forward to whatever comes next. I'm most likely not gonna cover every game as it comes out. There were other games and other things that I want to cover, like almost every step of the way, if possible, going forward. But for this, I don't think I can. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Before any of this episode, I want to say thank you very, very, very much for listening. This was a bit of a long one, but what can I say? I had a lot to say. Say. Aside from that, Lolbit, they had not one, but two official redesigns recently. Like, the Lolbit content has been lacking, over the years. After Sister Location Custom Night, there was nothing for a little while. No, nothing in Pizza Simulator, I'm pretty sure, which is fine. I didn't expect it. Ultimate Custom Night, they were a secret character, which basically, yeah, this new character named Dee Dee that could summon in like other additional characters that you can't modify on the roster. And hey, you know what? I'm not done. I'm not done. I remembered something. I'm sorry. I'm such a mess, but I'm always a mess. So deal with it, baby. But I remember something so crucial that how could I ever forget to talk about? Voice acting. I like it. I associate a lot with voice acting. Um, as I mentioned previously, I adore voice acting in the Mario Brothers series, and it's just kind of been intertwined with my soul. And that also includes this. I really, really like the voice acting in the FNAF series. And oh my god, I don't even know what to say. Like some people are good, like the phone guy in the first few games, and also like the other phone guy from the very beginning of FNAF 3. Like they're cool, they're fine. And then the voice acting in Sister Location was nice, but getting to hear how everyone in Ultimate Custom Night sounded like was a treat. Some of them really sucked, like Toy Bonnie, like you burn in hell, you sucked. I'm sure the voice actor is a very nice person, whoever they are. but it's just really grating on the ears. And Freddy sounds stupid. So, um, can we ah can we rehire that one, Scott? Hello, hello. Uh, outside of that, I got what I wanted: an official Lolbit voice actor, and they're not perfect, but they're amazing, baby. I love them so much, and they're so splendid and wonderful. Oh my gosh, I love it, and I love them very, very much. So, with that being said, I've had a lot of Lolbit content to chew on in the present day because of the redesign. So we have one for a FNAF project that everyone, yeah, it's pretty much confirmed to be like a real big thing, and we don't know a lot about it right now. But I don't care. Like having promotional art with Lolbit with a brand new snaky design that is so non-binary, it makes me so happy. And and we have the new sillier redesign where Lolbit is finally back to just selling stuff at a shop in a troll game that Scott Cawthon has done, which he likes to do throughout the entire series history. I didn't bother explaining that because I kind of forgot, but don't worry about it. This was for like the release of the movie, and then I think every level Lolbit is a shopkeeper, but they're plus size now. They're a little bit of a chunky person, and you know what? I don't mind. They're silly. They have the funny logo for the "Please stand by" on their shirt. Like the two of them embody what non-binary people dress like. Like we have one that goes all out, that goes completely like bonkers and like super duper fancy kind of like not maybe not fancy, but super duper nice and beautiful and lovely and specific. And it's so lovely. And then you have just put on whatever, whatever's comfortable. You can tell what side of the coin I'm at, but still, I love both so much. And sometimes I try to be one or the other. Definitely the other most of the time, but I don't care. I do not care. I love having both. They're both wonderful, and I love them, and so much fan art has come out of it, and I am literally drowning in happiness. Now I am done. I think maybe I don't fucking know. I've been here for too long. I'm going crazy. I'm going balls nuts, baby. I don't know what that means, but I am going that. Whatever that means. So, thank you very much for listening. I really appreciate it. For real this time. We're done. We're done. I'm out of here. I have a Discord. I have a Twitter and probably some other bullshit. Feel free to look in the description of this podcast episode. And with that being said, I'm done here. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you around. Bye bye.